right, Mississippi State with their first conference win of the season on the road against the Arkansas Razorbacks. They may be making a change. I'm not going to get into I read an article this morning on it, and it's a lot going on, but bottom line is they could owe $16 million or $11 million to Sam Pittman. But it was a good win for MSU. Yeah, the game, look, you can make fun of the offense, although the offense hasn't been the problem today. People are taking crazy pills. But, again, the offense has not been they haven't been exciting or great by any stretch, but the offense hasn't been the problem. Your defense at times has been ranked 112th and 107th in defensive scoring efficiency, although they did make a big jump over the weekend, holding the Arkansas Razorbacks to 3. I think they're now at 80. I think it's 85th or 86, somewhere in there, after the holding Arkansas to 3 points. But the bottom line is you get a win with a backup quarterback who hadn't played any. You got to keep that into consideration too, right? I mean, you had a backup quarterback who we asked the question why he didn't get more snaps the first several weeks of the season. He didn't. I thought he looked semi-productive, and it was what it was, but you got to win. And Arkansas has checked out, mailed it in, and they are done for the year. And so I would think that they'll make a new hire. What you don't want is for them to upgrade. If you're, depending on who you are. And can they upgrade? Yes. Will they? I don't know. I mean, the overwhelming majority of athletic directors are not really that good at hiring. So, and really it comes down to they don't really know what they're looking for from the jump. So once they get down to, the 3 or 4 guys that they identify, they didn't even start in the right place. Now, some of you are throwing out Mike Elko, the head football coach at Duke, who was the defensive coordinator at A&M. He'd be a good hire. He would be. Elko's proven that he can do some really good things. He's obviously, Duke is Duke, right? And although they lost to Florida State over the weekend, they've looked good under Elko. That would, in fact, even as much as we love Pittman, and I think Pittman's done a good job, and they need to really be careful moving off of him. Elko would be an upgrade. Does that mean that they would have all kinds of success with Oklahoma and Texas coming in the league? I don't know. The league is really, really down this year. I mean, that's obvious. The 2 teams that our teams just beat are 0-9. That's incredible to me. It really is. I mean, if you'd have told me that Auburn and I didn't expect Auburn and Arkansas to be super duper good teams, but they're 0-9 in league play. I thought if Jason would have said before the year, "Hey, Bo, do you think that Auburn or Arkansas between the two will at least have a win by October 23rd?" I'd have said, "Yeah, I think they'll have one conference win between the two of them."
Gotta be, right?
They're over. Vandy's over. South Carolina's in the toilet. And I don't think they're going to let go of Beamer, y'all. I think they're going to make Beamer clean house. And I think Beamer's another one in a long line of coaches that doesn't know how to staff. I think the overwhelming majority of coaches don't know how to staff. And that's the problem. You look at some that do, though, and it's impressive. In fact, Lane Kiffin's good at staffing. He is. And there's some other coaches that are Hugh Freeze hired a good staff. He's in year 1. They don't have a quarterback. They hung around for a while against Ole Miss. I think you kind of could see the way the game was going to go. Eventually, Ole Miss was going to break through the dam. Auburn had fingers everywhere, toes, and eventually
plugging holes.
Yeah, eventually Jackson Dart, and kudos to Quinshon Judkins, because there was some rumblings and mumblings up in Oxford of being disappointed and kind of how that season had gone for him. And then, made some throws to pre-scoring, and others made some throws to hurt Auburn. But Auburn, Freeze is in year 1. I think we all have confidence that Freeze is going to get that thing going.
Yeah.
Right? So even though they're And that takes me to Zach Arnett. Hugh Freeze hasn't won a conference game. Do you think Hugh Freeze is a good coach?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So let me take that to Zach Arnett, because we know that Lane is did it take Lane a while to figure out how to be a head coach?
No doubt.
I mean, the Oakland Raiders, the Tennessee Vols, the Southern Cal, all that learning, getting hit in the mouth. What do I need to do? Do I need to always be brash and cocky? Getting fired from the Raiders, getting fired on the tarmac at Southern Cal, and then all of a sudden ending up at Bama, but really humbling ending up at Florida Atlantic. I mean, I think he loved Boca Raton, but he didn't want to be at that program. All right, so let's think about Hugh Freeze and Zach Arnett. And well, I mean, you throw in a couple other coaches, but we'll walk through this. We are the Out of Bounds Show, 105.9 The Zone ESPN. I want to say good morning, welcome in. Winning's fun. You should enjoy it. And a dub's a dub, especially on the road in the SEC. It's not like you went and beat Vandy. You beat two teams that have had a pulse in their history, in the Arkansas Razorbacks and the Auburn Tigers. Now, your SEC Insider Hit is brought to you by our friends at Farm Bureau Insurance. Bundle your car and home and save with your Farm Bureau Insurance agent. Favrates.com. F-A-V-E. Favrates.com. Farm Bureau Insurance. Now, let me get into this. We're going to have Jake Thompson, Ole Miss Insider, at 8 a.m. Looking forward to that. We were going to have Jake last week, and then some things just kind of happened that we ended up having a special guest in studio. We'll have Justin Frommer, 247 Sports, Gene's page at 8:30. And then at 9:30, we'll have Tom Luganbill. So we're loaded up today. 8:30, 9:30, loaded up on the Farm Bureau Insurance guest line. Now, Zach Arnett got a conference win in his first year where he's kind of an interim coach. It wasn't pretty, but there's plenty of people who win on Saturdays where it's not pretty.
No doubt.
One team had 205 yards of total offense. The other had 200 yards. Your defense actually showed up. Now, why it took Arnett this long, I think he got involved. Okay? I don't know why Zach Arnett thought, I'm going to hire Matt Brock, who's never been a defensive coordinator, and call plays and get out of his way. I understand why Mike Leach hired Zach Arnett and got out of his way, because that's how Mike Leach does it, and he had already won 40 games before he got to Mississippi State. And I understand why some other, head coaches hire somebody and get out of their way. But I think it's obvious that, and they'll never say it, ever, because it's very CIA operative stuff between Zach and Kiffin and all these college football coaches, okay? But, they brought pressure from everywhere on the field. They mixed some things up. And even though Arkansas was, but I will say this, that was it. They were basically, that was their season. They win, they have a chance at a bowl game. They win, they have a chance to extend Sam Pittman's career. And y'all know the rest, right? So bottom line is Zach Arnett has a conference win and Hugh Freeze doesn't. Zach Arnett has a conference win and Sam Pittman doesn't.
How surprised are you with that?
Well, I am surprised that Arkansas and Auburn are 0-9 in the league.
I mean, that doesn't, now that's still a good win though, right?
Any win, when you're first year head coach and how you got the job, any win, conference win, home or away is good, but away is huge.
Yeah, no doubt.
Now, I think I banged on the drum that you would be, it would be a monumental task for you to win one of the games, LSU at home, at South Carolina, Bama at home. Nobody wanted to really listen. Okay?
Yeah.
Now, I didn't know South Carolina was going to be this bad.
Ooh.
Offensive, defensive scoring efficiency, 94th, 102. Holy Mary Olzab. What in the hell's going on in Columbia, South Carolina? But you won the game with a backup quarterback on the road against a coach in year 4. not in year one like you. And against a senior quarterback in KJ Jefferson, who, although is not playing that well, is a really good football player. He has proved it against Mississippi State, against Ole Miss, against LSU, and many other teams that he can play.
Yeah, give Buddy an offensive line, and other teams would be in trouble. Just give him some time in the pocket. That's, or at least to get some space.
Yeah. So it was a good win. Ole Miss's win at Auburn, even though they haven't won a conference game, it's a good win. You'll take it. Much better than how South Carolina feels today.
Ooh.
And how Arkansas feels today. I actually thought Tennessee took it to Bama early, and they played their tails off. And then give Bama credit. They imposed their will in the second half. Did they not?
That was rough.
Yeah. And now they get a week off because Bama's kind of run the gauntlet. I don't ever feel sorry for Bama, but, they played Texas, and then they played some other conference games. They've been through a physical stretch, and now they get the week off before, guess who plays? LSU at Bama.
Ooh.
Not this weekend, but next. So, congratulations to Zach Arnett. He's trying to find a way to another year. And State fans are and look, the defense showed there was no excuse for the defense to be that bad to date, and they were. And that's on Zach, and he's got to own that. And I still think regardless of how you play from here on out, you need to make a change at defensive coordinator. Go find a guy in G5 that has 3 years of play calling experience, that defensive scoring efficiency is unbelievable, and hire him. He's making $200, $250. Offer him $750, $800. He and his wife will walk to Starkville. Make sure that he and Zach align, whatever, that they're philosophically in the same zip code, and then let the dude go. If Zach can win some games, a couple of games down the stretch. I want to ask our listeners this as far as Mississippi State. Do you give them a better opportunity to win on the road at Auburn or Kentucky at home?
Ooh.
Auburn's still a tough place to play. Ask Ole Miss this past weekend. Even though they don't have a quarterback, and Freeze is trying to figure this thing out in year one. Do you think Auburn on the road? I still think Kentucky at home because of Kentucky's what? I think Kentucky's schedule, and who they play compared to who we all play. That's where I am, Jason. I know they've got some things that they do pretty well, but I still believe Kentucky at home, but I'd like to hear from the listeners. 601, here's the text line. I think y'all know it. 601-885-3776. 885-3776. By the way, Dart and Mike Wright, and lots of people made some mistakes early, and you overcame them on the road. Hey, that's a testament to, because things can get shot. We've watched Mississippi State and Ole Miss, something not go your way early on the road.
Yeah.
And then the blank hits the fan.
We fall apart. That's
what happened. And I'm not surprised with Ole Miss. Just Kiffin, year 4, Dart, played a lot of football, and so on. But Mike Wright throws a pick and didn't let that, he didn't allow that to be a 4-pick day or 3 more fumbles. Credit to him. You throw a pick right out of the gate on the road. You really haven't had anything good happen to you in a really since Arizona. Is that fair?
Wow. Yeah.
I mean, Arizona, the ebb and flow back and forth, and you end up winning the game, and they end up being a pretty damn good football team, even with their second string quarterback. So you really haven't had a lot good happen. You're looking for anything at this point. Everything's been a struggle since last December and Leach passing away. Everything's been a struggle. And what'd you do? You overcame adversity. I mean, there's good high school football teams, really, really good, that stumble on the road early and get beat. There's good college teams. I mean, Washington was down and had to score 12 points late For our listeners, the Washington Huskies in college, not Commanders.
Right.
Now, because of Penix Jr.'s ribs and so on, the point is it's not always smooth. It wasn't smooth for Ole Miss. Hey, Ohio State, Penn State. Ohio State started targeting the best player in the stadium. His last name's Harrison Jr. Things worked out. So, and what did Bama do? Bama's Bama. Saban's been there, 16 years? And Bama got hit in the mouth.
They were down at half.
Yes.
20-7.
And you look at, now, Bama kept their composure.
Yeah, as they do.
Usually, yeah, that's a good point. But again, veteran coach, 16 years at Alabama, number one recruiter. They still got hit in the mouth, and they kept their composure. You know what I'd love to know from our listeners, and I think everybody's going to gravitate towards the team, and I think it's the wrong team right now. But if all of our listeners started their SEC power rankings, do you think the majority of them would start with Georgia when really you should start with Bama?
I don't know. I mean, I feel like there's more people than you would
Just
think.
because Georgia's undefeated.
Yeah.
That's how we work as sport. I mean, Bama lost a game against Texas, doesn't count in the conference.
Right.
They're still number one in the West. It is, how about this? Is Bama more battle tested?
Yes. No doubt. I mean, Georgia they did struggle against South Carolina, struggled against Auburn.
Yeah.
But those are now not good teams. like those are not good football teams.
Right. So when you're in the power rankings, do you have to put the Ole Miss Rebels at number 3?
Come on. Don't you?
Because they beat LSU. And now, if they played, neutral field 10 times, I think it'd be really, really close, right? But how do you see it? Would you automatically put Georgia at number 1? Or would you put Alabama at number 1, power rankings? And at number 3, who would you slot at number 3? Ole Miss and then LSU at 4? Some of you, I think most of you are going to go Georgia, then Bama, then Ole Miss, then LSU. I think LSU fans now are going to say, hey, we're better. That's fine. Georgia, Bama, Ole Miss, LSU. Bama, Georgia, Ole Miss, LSU. Or flip Ole Miss and LSU. The bottom line is Ole Miss has the head-to-head against the Tigers. Now, we'll see what plays out here over the next couple of weeks. Ole Miss is going to win again on Saturday, and LSU has a week off. They've run the gauntlet too. They had to play Florida State. Now, LSU, no, I'm not going to go there. The Out of Bounds Show, 105.9 The Zone, ESPN. We're live in the BankPlus Studio. I want to thank you for going to Apple Podcast and Spotify, searching Out of Bounds with Bo Bounds. Apple Podcast and Spotify, searching Out of Bounds with Bo Bounds. I've also got to say happy birthday to Jeff Norris. He was my first co-host on the show 20 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man, good for him.
Yeah. He did a great job. He would have been an absolute star in our industry because of his crazy, quick-witted mind. I can't believe he stayed within FCC guidelines. And we didn't even know what FCC guidelines were when we were on Super Sport 930. We didn't even know what we were doing. We just buy some beers and do afternoon drive from 4 to 6. No guidance, no coaching, no topic development, no direction, nothing.
Super Sport 930.
Yeah, baby.
Wow.
Yeah, baby. All right, who do I have as a caller?
So we have Gator Mac
All
on.
right. On the Ben Nelson Golf and Outdoor caller line. Gator Mac? Oh, guys, is he going to go to Florida, Georgia?
You know it.
Is it Gator Matt or Mac?
I think it's Mac, but it could be Matt.
All right. Good morning. What's up, buddy?
Bo, what the hell is going on, man? How are you?
It is Gator Matt. Hey, buddy. How you doing?
Man, I'm doing well. It's probably been since you're on 9:30 since I talked to you last.
Well, that's on you.
Bo, it's Florida Georgia week. I mean, are we pumped or pumped?
If y'all can make it a fun and entertaining game, then I'm pumped.
Bo, there's nothing better than that game right there on the St. Johns River. And you know that river, Bo, it's one of the few rivers in the world that flows north. Did you know that?
Actually, I've been to that game, and I did not know that.
That river flows north. Do you know why it flows north?
Tell me.
Because Georgia sucks.
Oh, God. They're a 14.5-point favorite, big dog. I just I don't see it, but maybe you catch them. Now, look, here is what we've been able to see throughout the season. You know, teams have their good Saturdays, and, man, teams have their bad Saturdays, right? I mean, I don't know if Ole Miss has had a bad Saturday, but Mississippi State had their bad Saturday against LSU. That game was over from the jump, done. Offense didn't show, defense didn't show, so on. Bama had their bad Saturday, but they're so damn good, they were able to collect themselves at halftime and come out and just impose their will. Well, they had a bad Saturday, I guess, against Texas.
Yeah.
Arkansas's had several. Auburn's had several. LSU, I have to walk through that. A&M had their bad Saturday for sure. I don't see that being a close game. But I'd love for it to be an entertaining game. Look, man, the world's largest cocktail party does not disappoint. I did not know that you could have a neutral site SEC game be that awesome.
Is that one of the best rivalries you've been to?
Yes. I mean, I wasn't expecting, because I'd been to the Gator Bowl, and, bowl games are meh. Neutral site, whatever.
You never know,
It's over the holidays. You're there to have a good meal and whatever. I mean, bowl games have lost all their oomph. It's just it's fun to bet, and it's on TV and during the holidays. But Georgia, Florida absolutely shocked me how good it was, how intense it was. And I didn't realize that they rotated parking lots around the stadium. One parking lot's Florida, one parking lot's Georgia. And they get after it. I mean, I knew that half the stadium was Florida and half the stadium was Georgia. I just didn't know that it had the juice on a neutral site to give it that kind of energy, buzz, and flair that it did when Bartu and I went. I had an absolute blast. It was a ton of fun.
Is it chippy?
Now, we had VIP passes and things like that.
Oh, okay.
But is it chippy? Hell yeah.
Yeah.
They're talking in the parking lot.
That's what I thought.
I didn't know that you could tailgate at that level in an NFL stadium. Because NFL tailgates, for the most part, are not near as good as SEC and some of the other places. Hey, the Out of Bounds Show is brought to you by Kinetic Staffing. They are your executive recruiter. If it's all about recruiting in college football, it's all about recruiting talent to your business. Powered by KineticStaffing.com.